back to the Senior Focus. I'm Nick Coltis. I'm here with Keith Darrow and Donna Ostiguy. Hello, Keith. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Donna, nice to see you as always.
As always, Nick.
Yes. So, Keith, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I am a licensed and certified audiologist. I did my training. I started out at UMass Amherst, went to Brooklyn College, and then decided while I was in my training for clinical audiology to actually go and research a bit more. I was really into the science, the anatomy, physiology. So I ended up moving up to Boston, went to MIT, and did my doctoral work at the Massachusetts Eye and Ear Infirmary, and probably one of the biggest auditory physiology labs in the world. And it was a great experience. I've been teaching since at Northeastern University. I'm right down the street at Worcester State University. And then I decided, it was time to get back with the patients and started a private practice over in Worcester with we have a satellite office in Southbridge called the Hearing and Balance Centers of New England. So
there's a distinct correlation between hearing and balance that people might not know about, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
So the inner ear, most people think ear, they think hearing. The inner ear does two things, okay? It does hearing and it does balance, okay? And so audiologists are trained to not only diagnose, but to help treat people that have hearing loss and balance issues. And a lot of people don't realize this. Both hearing loss and balance disorders can be treated. They're treatable. Now, curing is different than treating. Not to say that we can cure hearing loss or cure dizziness, but we can treat both of those things. And if anybody is living or suffering from either of these two disorders, you need to see somebody. You need to get in and see an audiologist and come up with a plan to treat those issues that you're dealing with.
As a person ages, you frequently hear that their hearing breaks down. They don't hear as well. Is, the physiological structures in a person's ear that are responsible for hearing or that are responsible for, a person maintaining their balance. Does one break down more easily than the other? Like if someone has a hearing loss, are they also going to have a balance problem as well or no?
Yes and no. Okay, so inside the inner ear, even though there are two different compartments, they both work the same way. There are these very, very, very tiny microscopic hair cells inside the inner ear on both the hearing and the balance side. When we hear something or when we move our head, the fluid inside the inner ear starts to move around. And that's what gets these little hair cells moving, and they send signals to the brain. As we age, and the most common form of hearing loss is age-related hearing loss. It's got a fancy name called presbycusis, okay? For most of us, it's just in us genetically, and so it's going to happen. With the balance disorder, what's different about balance than hearing is that balance is actually made up of three components. The inner ear, our proprioceptive system, which is our sort of touching things, our feet on the ground, and it also has to do with our vision. All three are very closely related. You can actually go to the extreme and lose your balance organ. Over time, you can recuperate. So you could almost say live without it. So there are a lot of elderly people with balance disorders, or they have a breakdown in their inner ear on the balance side, but their other two systems, their vision and their proprioceptive system, have sort of overcompensated for it, or they compensate for it. Whereas on the hearing side, when those cells start to break down, you're left without hearing. Yeah.
So, here's a question. If a person is suffering from a lack of balance, but they walk heavy, so when their foot hits the ground, it, I don't want to say slams on the ground, but they're heavy, I would say heavy-handed, but we're talking feet. So
heavy-footed.
Yeah, heavy-footed maybe. Does that help them with their balance? From what you're saying, yeah, they might compensate somewhat.
I think what they're doing is they're compensating because they want to know that their foot is on the ground. Okay. And we see that a lot with patients that have dizziness-related issues, is that they want to really know. So they're doing it for their own benefit to know, okay, my foot is on the ground, it's solid, I can take another step. It's almost like people that walk down the hall and sometimes they'll sort of reach out to put their hand on a wall. Right. It's the same thing. They're almost emphasizing that signal that goes to the brain that then communicates with your visual system and then communicates with your balance system. And all of this is happening in a
Yeah,
split second.
these are both things that happen with me frequently, whether I reach out and touch a wall. Okay, I have some balance problems. I have, like, on occasion, rather severe balance problems.
Sure.
So whether I reach out, and I don't so much reach out and touch the wall anymore when I walk, but I do notice that on occasion, whether it's the stairs or whether I'm walking, my feet will hit the ground pretty hard. But like you say, I suppose that when the foot hits the ground, you know that you're stable and you're there.
Well, it's interesting that you said stairs. So stairs are one of those that are very difficult for people that have any balance disorder.
Right.
Even if it's something that sort of just lingers and they don't deal with day in and day out, the stairs are difficult because visually, stairs are sort of complex for the brain to process, right? There are all these shadows that occur in the steps. There's this sort of step system that's occurring. So your brain is visually processing the stairs, and you want to make sure your foot hits that step right, because we all know if you don't hit the step right or you don't raise your foot enough, you're going to fall forward
I
or
don't think that people without the problem of having a balance disorder really comprehend what you just said, because when I go down the stairs, not so much when I go up the stairs. Going up the stairs is a lot easier.
Yes.
When I go down the stairs, I find that my foot, just for the reason that you said, you want to make sure that foot hits the stair the right way, because if you lose your balance on the stairs, bad things are going to happen.
Right.
And there are marks on the back of the stairs because it's like I want to put my foot right under me, but I can't, but I'm afraid to put it too far out.
So one small thing that people can do is, and it might not be the prettiest thing to look at, but even just to have some sort of a tack strip, something on the steps, it helps your eyes sort of visually process, okay, here's the step, I'm gonna put my foot down and touch that little tacky piece. This way I know my foot is on the step and I'm not going to fall forward.
What about if someone's afraid it's slippery?
Well,
you can get something that's not slippery.
Right. So I remember my prior home, we had wooden steps, and they were very, very, very slippery. Now, fortunately, the people in my home, we didn't deal with a balance disorder. But anybody who has that fear or has any balance issues, I would highly recommend some sort of a strip that will give your foot a little bit more friction, and it will send that signal to your brain that, okay, my foot is here, I'm okay, I can take the next step.
What about like what do they call them, runners or something, where it goes not only on, the pad of the stair, but like on the back as well? Are you talking about just on the stair itself, not on the back?
Anything to give your foot that information that, okay, it's here, I'm safe, I've stepped down, I can take my next step. And this is something you sort of alluded to this. People without a balance disorder, they run right down the stairs.
Yeah, they have
not even thinking
no
about
idea.
it.
But I think even the visual part, Keith, because for myself, I know, Nick, you suffer from it really bad days, and I've seen you at your worst sometimes. I have it all the time. I always have some feeling of dizziness, always. And I go down the stairs either like you'd call me a 2-year-old or a 99-year-old, one step at a time, and people think I'm slow, but I have to hang on and actually feel my way down, especially at 5:30 in the morning, not because the lights aren't on, I can see, but I almost feel off kilter that I'm afraid to take that step, that I'm going to tumble down. So I hold on to the railing and I look in front of me. But I mean, I think about what you just said about putting that one strip to maybe get my eyes to visualize that step even more than just because I have the wooden stairs all the way down. And they're the shiny ones that you almost can't differentiate one to the other.
Don't go down with just socks on. On a shiny, slippery wooden step, stay away from socks. You're either better to go barefoot or to have a nice shoe that you get good feeling with. So.
Yeah, I've been doing that one step at a time for
Nick.
years and years, and it is much safer. On occasion, I'll attempt to do one step with one foot and then step down to the next step with the other foot, but that is rather risky, I got to tell you.
It is.
There's take your time going down the steps, and you said, oh, the 2-year-old. It makes me think of my 1.5-year-old little Charlie. He goes down the stairs very slowly because I know his brain, is basically working through the process of, okay, how do I get downstairs? He holds on and he knows to put both his feet down, then he'll take the next step. So, it might be kind of a joke like, oh, you walk down the stairs like a 2-year-old, but that's what a 2-year-old is doing. They're making sure that they don't fall. They're making sure they don't fall forward. They're making sure that the brain has the signal, okay, I've now compared my visual input, my proprioceptive input, my balance organ has told me I've gone down a level, because we have those receptors in the inner ear that tell us if our head is looking up or down, or if we've changed in elevation, or if we've changed in the front back plane. So all that signal is coming together, and for a 2-year-old, that takes a lot longer than, say, a healthy 25-year-old who can just run down the stairs probably with their eyes closed.
But for someone with hearing or balance, when you think about it, that's integral part of functioning and making it so that you're still independent and still able to do it. And even at 52, I have that fear of going down and really falling because I just am a little off kilter, whether it be the morning, afternoon. And I've watched you do it even at the office, Nick, when you take the stairs sometimes, that you have to be careful.
Yeah, I always try to avoid stairs. If I can, I do not do stairs. Sometimes you have no choice, like at the house. In my house, we don't have an elevator, so if I want to go upstairs, I'm using the stairs or I'm not going up there.
Yeah, right. Well, and that's why, you see people, and we may have that stigma about the elderly that have those chairs that go up the stairs. Those are there for a reason. Those are there because those people are putting their life in danger just walking up and down the stairs.
I'd probably benefit from one of those chairs as well.
You sure would.
Yeah, I didn't think about it, but I'm sure I would.
Yeah.
But in any event, we have to head to a break right now. When we do come back from the break, I'd like to find out what's the frequency someone should have a hearing test.
Sure. Yeah. Great.
Join us on Tuesday, September 16th for a free symposium, Living Well to 100. Open to the public, free admission, free buffet lunch, free raffle prizes, and free community resources. Call us to register at 508-459-5057 or visit us at www.theseniorfocus.com.